Role of grammar in learning a language. This chapter has its significance in seated exam as 2 or 3 questions are regularly asked. Questions asked in exam from this chapter are from the topics like aims and objectives of teaching grammar and methods of teaching grammar, etc. Definitions of grammar. Grammar is a system of language. With the help of grammar, words are used, classified and structured together to form coherent spoken or written communication. It provides a proper order or sequence to sentence for better representation of ideas to facilitate meaningful communication. According to Thomas L. Lowell, grammar presents the facts of a language arranged under certain categories and deals only with what can be brought under general laws and stated in the form of general rules. In the context of English grammar, Gordon said, if language is a vehicle of our thoughts and feelings, then grammar is the machine by which that vehicle is moving. Most of the people fear grammar and think it is the most boring part of learning a new language. Whenever we cannot run away from it, as it is an important factor to learn a new language. Aims and objectives of teaching English grammar are to develop in students an understanding of structure of English language, to enable learners to express their ideas logically and correctly in speech and writing, to teach grammar as a rule governed behavior and not as merely rote learning, to develop the mental abilities to reasoning and correct observation, to enable students to assimilate the correct pattern of the language, to develop scientific attitudes towards language, to develop taste for creativity. Importance or relevance of teaching English grammar. Our language is a complex system. It has logic in the form of grammar. Impact of grammar on all language learning skill is prominent. Enhanced communication skill call for a higher degree of grammatical competence. Communicative proficiency involves knowledge and applications of grammar and use of appropriate vocabulary to convey meaning in a socially acceptable way. Therefore, teaching grammar is imperative. Teaching grammar is essential if we want to proceed from the concrete abstract. Importance of grammar in writing correctly is undebatable. Writing and speaking correctly gives anyone the appearance of credibility. Grammar helps in making anyone proficient in these areas. Grammar also helps in developing many mental abilities such as reasoning, observation, and concentration. Suggestions for teaching grammar effectively are: the lesson should be planned beforehand. Method of teaching should keep in mind the age and general standard of learners. The material should be taken from learner's textbook. Sufficient practice work is to be done. Teachers should use appropriate teaching materials aids like chart, flashcard, picture, graphs, etc. Demonstration of how grammar is to be used in contextual situation is very important. For evaluation, the objective type test should be used. For evaluation, objective types of test should be used. Types of grammar. Different theories of language result in the conception of different types of grammar. Functional grammar, a key approach in describing language. Functional grammar gives prominence to describing words or phrases according to the function they are performing in a sentence. It is a kind of descriptive grammar, that is, it is only concerned with stating how a language is working. Prescriptive grammar, on the other hand, is concerned with how to correctly use a language for the most effect. Pedagogical grammar, the function of this grammar is to provide how standard English is used in order to aid non-native English speakers learn English. Pedagogical grammar relies on giving the learners rules on the basis of which English grammar works. Practice material and example are the key parts of the learning process. Methods of teaching grammar. The traditional method. This method is also called the deductive method. In this method, grammar is taken as an independent subject and taught with the help of a grammar book. The teacher first tells the rules or definition, gives example, and then asks students to do the given exercise for that is, the teacher says a noun is the name of a person, place, or a thing. Then she gives some examples of noun. The learners are supposed to memorize the definition of noun. This method is not very effective as it is against the principle of teaching, and students find it boring and dull. The informal method. This method implies teaching of grammar not by rules, by its usage. Through continuous practice of using words while speaking, reading, and writing, grammar can be taught and therefore learned by students. This is done while teaching of textbook or detailed translation of the textbook is carried on. Grammatical implications are taught simultaneously. Through this method, practical use of grammar rules are elicited, but sometimes this method becomes time consuming and may divert the attention of the student. Inductive deductive method. Through this method, the students themselves formulate rules with the help of examples. Some steps of these methods are as follows. Students are given some examples of similar type. Students try to find out similarities by analyzing. Inductive deductive method. Through this method, students themselves formulate rules with the help of example. Some steps of this method are as follows. Students are given some examples of similar types. Students try to find out similarities by analyzing and observing these examples. Students are asked to draw some conclusion. Then the teacher will give the rules and give new examples and asks her pupils to verify the rules. This method of teaching grammar proves very successful and advantageous as it becomes practical, real, and scientific. It follows all the maxims of teaching and pupils are not forced to cram the rules. These methods also stimulates the power of thinking and reasoning. Some shortcomings of this method are that it can be applied only to young learners. Moreover, this method is not complete in itself because sometimes students are unable to correlate examples with the topic. Incidental method. This method is also known as correlations or reference method of teaching. This method helps students to correlate grammar with the related logical structure. Students gain a practical knowledge of grammatical rules. Some disadvantages of this method are that it interferes with normal teaching. Productive learning is less and sometimes creating or forming an incident related to the topic may be difficult for the teachers. Importance of grammar in development of communication skill are. Grammar helps in learning correct pronunciation. With good grammar, spoken or written words gain their meaning and value. Knowledge of grammar improve skills of expression. Grammar is also helpful in increasing accuracy. Grammar frames the mind to habits of order and clearance and also to logic and rhetoric. So grammar rules can help learners develop a habit of thinking logically and clearly. Grammar also helps in acquiring fluency in a particular language. The person will also learn how to organize and express the ideas in his mind without difficulty. Importance of grammar in development of writing skill are. The learner learns to write with correct pronunciation and correct language and spelling. With the knowledge of grammar, parts of speech, etc., the child develops an effective writing style. Expression of feelings, emotion, frustrations in an impressive manner is possible only by knowledge of grammatical rules, syntax, vocabulary, etc.